Having a Virgo North Node and a Pisces South Node means that this life is not a life where you can allow all the daydreams, all of the fantasies, and all of the getting caught in the perfectionism of what if I don't do it perfectly the first time. Not being willing to face reality and be okay with making mistakes and getting out into the world and actually paying attention to the details of your life. In order to make your dreams, which come from your spiritual ideals, reality. And the highest expression of the Virgo North Node is doing exactly that. Because Pisces has all these dreams, all these wonderful visions. And Virgo is like, let's manifest it. Let's have a plan. Let's have a list. Let's do it. So in this very deep and in-depth podcast episode of the Vastness of Google podcast, I will be talking about this placement in depth. If you have this placement, but if you don't have this placement, I really would encourage you to really stick around because I'm going to be discussing a lot of information in this episode. That is very deep information about this placement. And I'm going to start with Astrology for the Soul by Jan Spiller, which is the book on the North Nodes, and goes into how the person can evolve into their North Node and release the shadow sides of their South Node. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to the Virgo North Node chapter. But before I do, I just want to give you some dates of when the North Node transited Virgo in history so that you can know when you were born, if you have this placement. So, you know, if you have a Virgo North Node, when would you be born? Well, the North Node transited through Virgo January 16, 1904 to September 18, 1905. And then again from August 24th, 1922 to April 23rd of 1924. May 25th, 1941 to November 21st, 1942. Now, somebody who has a Virgo North Node was born during this transit. I believe that she is one of the artists, the singers in my music channels on my channel, on the homepage of my channel, and this is Barbara Streisand. She has a Virgo North Node. And think of what she did. You know, she just had just art. Music is a form of art. Pisces is a form of art. And actually manifesting it and becoming this great person. You know, this is Virgo, like manifesting this dream into reality. Now another side of this that gets more specific is that she, well, before I get to the kind of big thing, I just want to say, I think that in her life, she has really learned to develop healthy boundaries and self-respect. Really moved away from the getting caught in others' emotions. I mean, she has Venus in Pisces, so getting caught in others' emotional issues and serving others and helping others and getting really so absorbed that you lose your center, that you lose the care for yourself. And so I think that developing healthy boundaries in her life really served her and part of that is I think that she has become more discriminating. I'm going to talk about being discriminating, and not like being racially like I'm against this race, but being very discerning. I feel like she has really become somebody who is very discerning over things and put boundaries against the things that, what, this is not worth my time and energy. This is not worth my breath. This is not worth my investment. This is not, helping me on a mental, emotional, physical level. So therefore you're putting up a boundary to it. Like, this is how I perceive her to be in her life and what she has grown into with the Virgo North Node. And then the other thing is, if you learn about her, she was a perfectionist. And this is also Virgo. But Virgo North Node is about perfecting something and perfecting your craft, becoming better at something, improving something. So this is what she did with her singing. She wouldn't settle for a half-assed, halfway thing. She would work and work and work until she did it perfectly. And she was willing to put in the work to make it perfect, to make her singing perfect, to make her, her voice the best that it could be. And this was a creative thing, so it was Pisces. So, and that can be a downside of Virgo, but, she was very, determined and very, fixated. It has a lot of Taurus energy, fixated. Like, I have this goal to be perfect, and I'm not going to stop until I'm perfect. That's also the Taurus in her chart, making her have a very strong will, very stubborn, very much a person who stays the course and doesn't bend their way and doesn't let it go until it's ideal. So that's what I want to say about her with the Virgo North Node. Okay, so that's that transit. Also as a Virgo North Node that was born during that transit, she was born, Barbara Streisand was born April 24th, 1942. Somebody that I followed on Ciao Italia, the cooking show Ciao Italia, was born August 3rd, 1942, who was Marian Esposito. And, I wonder what house her North Node was in. Was it in the 9th house? I'm debating whether it was in the 9th house or not. She really wanted to be very, very good at cooking Italian food, and very, very serious about that, very, very dedicated to studying it, to learning how to prepare it, to teaching it to, millions of people all over, the world or America on TV. Like a best Virgo North Node can be so determined on, teaching teaching what you're good at, that, you're not, that you're gonna, work towards it until you get, very, very good at it. And I, when 2015, 2016, I kind of spoke like her. I kind of, really, really, embodied her because I was doing the cooking videos, and so I reminded myself quite a bit of her back then with who I was. But anyway, that was that transit in the North Node in Virgo. The next one is December 16th, 1959. I literally know somebody who was born December 16th of 1959. Literally. And this was this was a job coach that will be retiring this May, who has this placement. Very, very good with details, very good with, organizing the people that she was helping with their jobs, and, Virgo North Node is about, organization. And then also, Susan Boyle has a Virgo North Node, April 1st, 1961. And Enya. The singer Enya, May 16th, 1961, also has a Virgo North Node. So again, singers with Virgo North Node. So that's that. Yeah. Now, that is what I want to say about that transit. So June 10th, 1961. Then July 6th, 1978 through January 12th, 1980. Okay. So, somebody who was born between these dates, I told you I was going to take my time with this. This is going to be long, so get comfortable. Settle in. It is going to be a long podcast. So, let's slow down. Let's really just delve in. So, Artie Sequeira. I think she was born August 19th of 1978. In the show on Food Network Star, she struggled with self-confidence. She struggled with believing in herself. She doubted her own abilities to put herself out there, share her cuisine, be a star, and getting her act together when it comes to believing in what she can do. Like Virgo North Node is like, I can do this. I have the confidence in myself that I can do this. And so thinking that you can't do it and feeling like a victim, like I can't do it, is the Pisces South Node. And that's something that she was working throughout that season. Because I saw it, in 2023, and that's what I discovered from that. So then that was that transit. July 6, 1978 through January 12, 1980. Then January 26, 1997 through October 20th, 1998. And there was yet another person born between these dates that I know. And it's my piano teacher that I used to have. This is somebody who has his Jupiter conjunct at my Jupiter is at 10 degrees, his node is at 10 degrees. And he does not live in the low expression of Virgo. He does not live in the critical, perfectionistic, you're not doing it right, overworking, stressful, rushing, ungrounded side of Virgo. No, he lives in the side of, he has a lot of Pisces in his chart. I think Jupiter, Sun, Moon, and South Node in Pisces. And very creative with the piano, but part of Virgo North Node is honing a craft, honing a skill, and piano is a skill that needs developing, and so he is obviously very, very well trained and well skilled in this area. And Virgo North Node is also about service, so he was teaching me how to play the piano. He was honing a craft that he learned and became perfect at it, or very, very good at it, because you can't be really perfect at anything. And then it's teaching me, like teaching others as a, like an apprentice teacher, situation. And, I'm going to probably have him again this fall, probably with somebody else when I take my piano lessons again, when I get back to taking college classes. But there is a certain technique and a certain need to be concentrating on the skill of playing piano, and there's certain details that need to be paid attention to, and he is very, very well aware of that. And so that is, that. So I just thought that I would mention that. So like, there's all these references to people who have Virgo North Node that I'm mentioning. Okay. So I listed that transit. Then again from November 12th, 2015 through May 9th, 2017. Jupiter was in Virgo during this time. Jupiter in Virgo, the North Node in Virgo, how we were gaining our luck and growth and expansion was aligned with our fulfillment in life, which was very Virgo. Developing skills, paying attention to details, like all this stuff is very Virgo. And we were developing that throughout that particular time period, and I was living through that. And that was my Jupiter return period back during that time. So then the next transit will be June 4th, 2034 through November 29th of 2035. So those are the dates. That was deep already, but I'm just barely getting started. Let's just go right into the tendencies to leave behind, the attributes to develop. So, fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be long. All right, let us go to that page. So, let me go to the Virgo North Node page 234. Okay. Let's look at the tendencies to leave behind. The first tendency to leave behind, this is the Virgo South Node. Working to reduce the influence of these tendencies can help make life easier and more enjoyable. I'll probably be repeating all this stuff throughout the video. But, okay. The first tendency, that is the negative tendency for the South Node in Pisces, is being a victim or having victim consciousness. And I think it's very, very important to understand what it means to have victim consciousness. Individuals think, like Pisces North nodes can see themselves as being very powerless. Like you have no power to make things happen in your life, to act on things, to make your dreams a reality, to actually make a difference in others' lives, to make a difference in their own lives, to actually change things in the world. Feeling like there's a deep feeling of Pisces South Node that they are flawed and that they're wrong. This is a deep thing. And you may think this with Virgo South Node, but it is a very deep emotional thing for Pisces South Node, feeling like you are wrong or bad. And, and you feel like, wow, the outside is a cruel, judgmental place where they are going to judge me and tear me to shreds and criticize me and get on me for my mistakes and do all this stuff. Like there's this deep fear and insecurity about this. I kind of want to, stay in a, tower and kind of thing and in a chamber of mystics and behind a wall and not really, get out there kind of thing because of this insecurity with being a victim. And then the very, very last thing about this is that they blame the outside world because they surrender so much to the outside world that they are not in alignment with their own power. They're not connected to their own power and will and life force energy. They're not connected to the part of them that can act, that can rationalize, that can strategize, that can plan, that can do. Like they're not connected to that part of them. They blame others for, they blame the world because they feel like they can't win. They feel like they can't be better, like they can't improve. That they don't have any say in things, And then they blame the outside world for this. And this is a very, very sad state of affairs. And I want to deliver Pisces North Node, Pisces South Node, Virgo North Node message with compassion. I want to do this in a compassionate way for you. If you have this placement, you're really into this. Feeling helpless is also part of this. Yeah, and that it's kind of thing like fate. How we can't control our fate. And like fate is in charge, God is in charge, and we can't create our own reality. We can't manifest and co-create our own reality. Like we are the creators of our own reality. And we get to choose what kind of life that we get to live. And I'm going to talk more about how Pisces South Node, Virgo North Node is quote unquote not in needing to get into reality. And this all goes back to a comment I received the other day, a section of comments where, this person told me that I am not in ground reality because I am I'm apparently in my own little world, and I am very smart and intelligent, and I apparently look awkward, and I'm not self-aware to know that I am socially awkward. This is this person's projection, and I made it very, very clear to them, and I honestly have to laugh because this person was so unintelligent. And so, I just, you cannot take others' opinions online so seriously. I think it's so funny. That this person, it really, it's ridiculous. It's, malarkey. They said that I didn't live in ground reality. And that is certainly not true with Pisces, North Node. There may be a couple of things I'm going to say in here that are going to be contradictory. Just fair warning about that. But I just thought I'd just mention that right off the bat before even continuing because it came up. But not being able to create your own destiny, not being able to control your own reality and change your life and create that reality for yourself. The next tendency is confusion and disorientation. Lack of clarity on what it is you want. Like in Pisces, we're confused. Like, what is it that I want? What is my dream? What is my idea? And I think confusion is not knowing, being confused about the world in general. But, to me, it means lack of clarity. Like, I think that Pisces South Nodes have a lack of clarity about themselves and who they are. And being disoriented, with their life. That is what I will say to that. Like, Pisces South Node, Virgo North Node is here with Earth School, so they're confused. How do I actually manifest this? How do I actually do this? Like they're confused. They just do not know how to manifest their ideas. Like it's very, very difficult for them because they feel very, very uncomfortable with it. Like there's a discomfort with it that comes in really, really strongly with this placement, and it creates confusion. So there's lack of clarity, and then there's confusion. The next tendency is avoidance of planning. Wow. I think that I struggle with this a little bit, and I didn't have this placement. Like, I could just picture like an old-fashioned, the duck and cover thing, like an old commercial, like black and white and like teaching the lessons of the Virgo North Node, like details, routines, like doing all of this. I could just see it now. But so avoidance of planning. If you don't have a plan and you go into something, then it's going to fail. Like you have to plan out your life so that things work in a certain way where you can actually achieve your dreams in the right way. Let's say you wanted to travel to, I don't know, Hawaii. Like, you picture yourself in Hawaii, on the beach, drinking a nice drink, the sun is, up, and then you're just fantasizing with that reality. However, you're so stuck in the fantasy. But wouldn't it be great, Virgo North Node, if you could live that fantasy, if you could touch, taste, and see and live that fantasy? Like, it requires you to plan. Okay, I'm going to get enough money to do this. Maybe I'll get a job to make enough money. I'll pack my suitcases. I'll do all these things. Like, this is part of what it means to plan. Like, there's this tendency for them to think, oh, it'll work out. I can just rest on the universe, like, oh, it'll work out. Oh, the universe will just take care of it. I don't have to do anything. I can just relax and not, do anything. And feel that things will be okay. Well, if you don't plan and you end up in a plane and you don't have proper fuel, then that plane is going to crash. Unless you have the details taken care of, unless you plan out for those things in life. If you don't plan for, I don't know, that, for going to a certain place at a certain time, then you're going to be late to that place. Like going to work. Just picture going to work. You want to avoid the traffic rush. Planning on getting out the door, getting yourself ready, get your suitcases ready. You can't, I think that Pisces South Node procrastinates because they just sit and are kind of, at worst, I don't want to put this placement down, but at worst, they can suffer from kind of a lazy quality of, not, taking action, where they just sit and wait, and then then they're rushing around, and then they're trying to do all this, because they're trying to do this, and look at the time, I'm late, and then they're just rushing around, they're all disorganized, all because you don't plan, you don't have a system, you don't map things out, and then you're gonna be in a bad situation in that case. So, that's what I want to tell you. Now, the next tendency is escapism or addictive tendencies, drugs, alcohol, excessive sleep, daydreaming, etc. Like Pisces South Node can escape because it doesn't want to face this reality. It's so hard. It doesn't want to do the mundane tasks that we need to do. It doesn't want to participate. It doesn't want to do all this stuff. So naturally, if you're feeling like the world is a dark place, and you have to understand, this is a sad placement. I feel a lot of compassion for these people because they feel like this reality is so hard. It's so hard being human. It's so hard living in this reality. And they don't want to engage with this reality because they're afraid of making mistakes and then just feeling disempowered and feeling like they've evolved to a high spiritual level that maybe the practical tasks are probably below them in some way. And because Pisces South Nodes are just so evolved in past lifetimes, like meditating, contemplating, doing all this stuff where they become so spiritually wise. I mean, at best it's gonna be like, I'm humble. I'm humble, and I'm not no ego. Like Pisces Satyrs are not egoic. They have no ego. There's a humility. There's a connection with the divine, and the connection with all that I'm going to get into later. But because of this, just this rejection of reality, and I mean, my version of this is like, I made a thing about Neptune in the second house, where I am just so against money as a thing of a reality. I have some strong resistant feelings toward money that I expressed in that episode. But naturally, if you feel so, against this reality, you're going to want to escape. How are you going to escape? It's like everything in moderation. Do you feel that it's an addiction or it's not serving you? Do you feel like this addiction disempowers you and sucks you down? Or do you feel like, I can do this? Like, I allow myself to experience, allow myself to indulge myself in this pleasure without overdoing it, without, with having moderation. Like, Virgo North Node is here to learn moderation very, very strongly. Here to set limits with themselves and how much they escape, how much they, they dream and do all this stuff. Like, that's part of it. And so, when they can escape and set a clear schedule, like, okay, I'm going to spend from 1 to 3 painting or playing video games, and then I'm going to, focus on writing the book that I want to write. Then you set a schedule for yourself, like you're giving yourself a limit. So with escaping, I also want to say that. Extremism. Ooh, this is an interesting tendency. Okay. Again, I think it goes back to, I think that it is, where you're so caught up in another world that you want to live so much in that other world. And one of the things that I'm going to jump to right away here is that they have this idea of perfection. That things have to be perfect, that things have to be ideal in an extreme, perfect way. And so that's how I interpret extremism. And so they live in very kind of unorthodox ways. And they can hurt themselves also. They can sacrifice themselves with what they do, because they're so busy helping others emotionally, they're not prioritizing their own inner peace and state of being. That's yeah. So both Virgo North Node and Pisces North Node are about boundaries, but in different ways for different reasons. So all right. Yeah, that's all that I wanted to cover with that. That's all that I have to say about extremism. The next one is oversensitivity. Wow, this is a big one. Pisces South Nodes are so tuned in to the field, to everyone. They are so vibrationally, spiritually tuned into everyone, everything going on around them, that they're so sensitive to this, that they don't, that it drains them, and that they're drowned in all these emotions, and that they can't find their center and to find a grounded, stable place where they can be anchored and secure within themselves on a safe dock in the middle of a raging stormy sea. So this oversensitivity where so compassionate, like at best they can be compassionate. Like I think I had a therapist for a very short amount of time who was kind of a vague personality, but I believe that she had this placement. And she was very receptive, very sitting and listening, great listener, and very just very, very sensitive in a way that I would describe. But Virgo North Node is about getting out of the emotional sensitivity and not getting drained. Like where do you feel drained? Just where do you feel drained by things in life, and where do you need to set boundaries to that? So, self-doubt. This is what I was talking about before with that person, self-doubt. I thought that she had an Aries North Node, but she had a Pisces, Aries South Node, but she had a Pisces South Node. It makes perfect sense. Like doubting your own abilities. Thinking that you're not powerful enough, not believing in yourself. Wow, this makes so much sense with who this person was on Food Network Star. This person doubted their own abilities. And you can suffer from doubting that you can actually achieve your dreams, that you can actually make things happen, that you can actually get the details done and take action in your life. Like you can suffer from this self-doubt. And this self-doubt is what is holding you back. And I'm going to get into a deeper reasoning of why you have self-doubt later in this video. Feeling inadequate, like you're not good enough. This goes along with self-doubt, like you're not good enough, like you're not superior enough. You don't have the right skills. You don't have the right qualifications. You're not pretty enough. You're not worthy enough. You're not this enough. You're not that enough. Like feeling not enough. That you can't actually go out and take action in the world because you feel inadequate. Okay. So, yeah, like you can't fulfill what your soul is calling you to fulfill. Like you just can't do it. So that's another tendency. Withdrawal. This goes along with escapism. These kind of interlink. So withdrawal can be, well, I'm going into myself and I'm turning in as opposed to just facing, what I need to do in the world, because you feel like, what's the point? What's the point of going out and taking action and doing all this if I'm going to fail? Like, they're so afraid of failure. They have a deep fear of messing up and failure. That they refuse to take action, at worst, and they, go inside themselves. Where they, go into their own little world. Like, they don't want to engage in life. Because it's so hard, so overwhelming, you have to work so hard, you have to get good at this, and they just don't want to deal with that. So they withdraw. Vagueness. Not wanting to commit in action. And when I was referring to this person, I was referring to speakness. How this person spoke. Vagueness. like, part of the Virgo North Node is actually being disciplined with yourself. Like, having a Virgo North Node means, like, if you want to achieve your dreams and turn all the spiritual dreams into reality, you have to be disciplined about it. You have to have a plan and stick to the plan and have this commitment to what you are doing. And so part of that is not failing to take action on it because it's not going to, what if it doesn't go according to plan? Like, they're so afraid of their plans not going according to plan. They're just so afraid of that, so insecure about that. So they don't want to commit. It's very, very difficult for them to commit. And going in more in depth about vagueness, they also fear uncertainty. They fear uncertainty, and this is why they don't take action. This is why they don't go out and make things happen in their lives. And this is why they don't commit. Because it's like, if something goes wrong, they give up. They give up. Like, oh, I'll do this. Oh, here's a sign. I'm giving up. It's not worth it anymore. Well, like, it's almost like they're looking for a way out of it. Like, they're looking for the excuse out of it because it comes from this very disempowered place of feeling like you can't do it deep down. And you're so unfamiliar with it, like you don't want to deal with this world. And so, as soon as something goes wrong, they retreat. And it's like, here's the sign. And so it's not worth doing. And so I'm going to go back into my, dig a hole for myself in the sand. And I'm going to retreat, and I'm not choosing to take action and face the problem. Like, what life is about, problems are going to happen. And it's about being willing to deal with the problem and face it. Like, things are going to happen in life. And so when they can just find acceptance in that, they're going to find a lot of peace, and they're just going to try to stop expecting that it's going to just be they're going to get it right, because they're probably not going to get it right. You're probably not going to get it right. So, so that's what I want to say. And then going along with that, giving up. Just what I was saying. Giving up. Because it's not, because it's not going according to plan. It's not right. If something goes wrong, you easily give up. You don't have the will to stick it out and, push forward. Like, it's about, like, picking yourself up and dusting yourself off. Picking yourself up and dusting yourself off. Like, if you fall on your face, don't just stay down. Get back up. Like, if you're in a battle, you don't just stay down. You get back up and continue to fight. Like, Virgo North Nodes, they're learning that it's okay to make mistakes, but they don't have to stay down. They can see, oh, I made a mistake, and then be willing to fix that, because this is what is required. Like, this is a natural thing that's going to happen if you want to achieve your dreams. Things are going to happen in life. And it's about being willing to just know this and go through that process. Well, you have to have, like, there has to be some cracks in the road. Like, there's going to be some roadblocks. There's going to be some troubles on that journey to get to where you want to go. That's just how it is. So, I want to say that. Now, attributes to develop. Attributes to develop. The first one is the act of participation. How will you participate? How will you join in with life? This is not a life where just going into the fantasy realms and just floating off into another world. To the point where you're you're not meant to just abandon yourself and move to your north node. Like, you can do that. But when you find that I am overindulging myself in this, I am doing this way too much. back up. No. Now I'm going to have awareness to this, and I'm going to participate. So, participating, joining in, and participating as you attending to details, you taking action, you engaging with others, and doing all this, and doing the details, and it can be very, very fun and fulfilling for them to participate. The next tendency, one of the Virgo specialities, is bringing order out of chaos. You're here to organize all these messy, disorganized pieces. And you're here to put parameters around things. Like in the past, you didn't have strong boundaries over things, but here you're here to put boundaries and parameters around your life and get your life together. This is what you're here to do. And so, this is about bringing order out of chaos. Like Virgo, making sense of all the confusion. You're so caught in the confusion that you want to make sense of it by taking all those confused separate pieces and putting them together to something cohesive. Taking all the okay. You don't just leave a messy bedroom empty. You don't just leave it empty. The responsible thing is to go in there and clean it up. Something that Barbara Streisand said was what is the point of making your bed, because you're going to get back in it anyway? She said this, and she had a Pisces South Node and Virgo North Node. It's I totally understand where you're coming from. The point of making your bed is just to show that you are orderly, and that you clean up your life, and you do all of that. That's just part of that. So I just find it so interesting, and so her North Node to say that. So bringing order out of chaos, taking all the messy pieces of life and organizing them into a system. If your room is filled with pictures and you cannot think clearly, a messy, room in a messy house leads to a messy life. Having organization can really, really make you feel so much calmer, so much more put together, so much more centered, so much more peaceful. You'll find that organizing my life makes me feel better. There's a sense of satisfaction that Virgo North Nodes get when they organize things up, as opposed to leave things messy. But the thing is, it's not easy for them to get themselves to want to do this. So you sort of, I'm sorry to tell you this, Virgo North Node, but from Mel Robbins, who has Aries energy, who has Jupiter in Virgo, part of it is kind of, pushing yourself to sort of take action. And so, part of this is managing your life when it comes to this disorganization, that you're suddenly putting all these things in order. And, the other thing that I want to cover that I heard somebody that I follow bring up is, and this was her example, so I'm taking her example out of this, is when you take care of something, the more you procrastinate, the more difficult it will be. Deal with it now when it's easier, instead of waiting till it's much more difficult later on when you don't deal with it and you have this big mess to clean up. Her example was, if you have a kitchen that is so dirty and you just clean it up little by little, when you see a little bit of the mess, then it's an easy task. How you do the dishes, you don't just leave the dishes in the sink and just leave everything there. I feel so much compassion for you, because it's hard. It's hard, this reality. with all the mundane tasks, that's, required of you. I want to say this in a compassionate way, just know that if you let those things sit around, then you're going to have a lot to do, and you're going to be very, very overwhelmed, and you're going to be very, very stressed, and you're going to just suffer because of it. So that's what I want to honestly tell you. I am holding quite a bit of space for the people who have this placement. So, the next thing is creating routines. The next thing is creating these solid routines. Not relying on others to create them for you. Like, in a past lifetime, Pisces South Node was in a church with nuns, or in a chamber where there's a gong, and then it's time to eat now, or it's time to clean up, or it's time to meditate, or it's time to do this. The schedule was planned out for you, and you just handed over your power to that schedule and that routine. But life isn't set up for you this way now. Now, the universe is saying, time to create your own routine. Time to structure your own life. And so, and this is part of order out of chaos, how creating a routine, creating a structure, and this is part of the detail that makes up your life, having an orderly life, and part of this is having a routine. You're here to pay attention to the little details of your life that make up who you are, because this is Virgo energy. And so, creating routines is part of it. Being present, being in the here and now. Not getting caught up in ghostlands of the past, or a fantasy version of life. Not getting caught in your head in the fantasy of the other worlds. Now, what I'm going to tell you later on is going to be kind of contradictory to what I'm saying now. I'm just kind of forewarning you. But just, not that you need to get in reality. That's not what I'm saying. Just, you can get so in your head that you're not present. This is what I need to do in my... there was this TikTok that I was seeing from this astrologer who was asking a question, what is my life purpose? And then the answer said, do the dishes, do the laundry. It's and I think this is so North Node and Virgo. Your purpose, kind of like Gemini North Node, lies in the small things, not the big spiritual, divine answers that you get through meditation and contemplation, but the small little details that you take care of, in the here and now. The small little details in being here and now, paying attention. Oh, I have this to do. Oh, I have this task to do. You're here and now, and you're present with attending to those details, as opposed to just ignore, denial. Denial. This placement is very prone to denial. People with this placement just want to deny and want to shut out the mundane responsibilities that are required of you to achieve your dreams, that require you to live a life that you ideally want to live. So that's what this whole podcast revolves around, is grounding your dreams into reality, and this is how to do this. So, okay. Acting on feelings of compassion, not just sitting on the feeling. Not just feeling compassion, but actually being of service to others. Because Pisces South Node is so compassionate. Has such strong feelings of compassion for others. Now it's time to act on those feelings. What if you could actually make a tangible difference? We were just sitting and being, but now it's time to actually take action on those feelings and help people, find more compassion for themselves, and, help people who are struggling, who are feeling bad about themselves, who are in sad, uncomfortable, negative situations, difficult situations, and acting on these feelings of compassion. It's so empowering for you to do this. And going along with that is being of service. So you can be of service. These two are interlinked. So, acting on these feelings of compassion in a way where you are serving others. And you're going to find, Virgo North Node, that when you serve others, it's going to feel so fulfilling to you. It's going to feel so satisfying to you to make a difference in others' lives, because Virgo humbly wants to serve. Virgo has this need to serve. And so this soul need to serve that comes from your heart, and you won't really go up into the head because your Pisces South Node. So you will serve from your heart. Like, you have such compassion in your heart. Now it's time to actually take action and make a difference with that. Now, analyzing and categorizing. Part of achieving your dreams, part of going after your dreams and living a life in accordance to what you want, with the life that you want to live, is requiring you to focus on details. Require you to analyze things and organize things. So, analyzing and organizing, very, very important. The more that you go through your life, like they say, you don't know until you try. Here's the thing. It's a muscle, Virgo North Node. It is a muscle. The more you do things, the better you will get. And the more self-confident in yourself you will become. Don't expect to just feel so self-confident just right from the get-go. And right from the first time that you do it. Don't expect that. Because I don't think that it'll happen for you. It takes doing it over and over and over again for you to build up that self-confidence. And I think, Mel Robbins talks about, pushing yourself. You'll find that you don't have the motivation, but when you actually push yourself and actually do it, you'll feel more self-confident. You'll feel more motivated to do the thing. So, there's something about Aries energy that can be very, very good for this place, but you'll gain, you will have a greater sense of self-worth about yourself. You have a greater sense of believing in yourself, not doubting your own abilities, feeling adequate, feeling self-assured. This is what you will feel, but only by doing it through experience. You'll feel more confident in it the more you do it. And I really think that this piano teacher that I had, is really leading into this, because it's really leading into and showing me that he is really leaning into his Virgo North Node, who has 3 planets in Pisces, leaning into this. The more you play piano, the more confident you'll get at playing piano. So, yeah. So, I've already talked about this. Moderation. Yep, exactly what I was talking about. Moderation. This is a key lesson. Not something with my North Node in Taurus necessarily. This is not a North Node in Taurus thing. This is a North Node in Virgo thing. Because Pisces can overindulge in the drugs, or in the movies, or in the video games, or whatever. And overindulging in being in victimhood. Overindulging in the emotions. Now it's time to moderate yourself, everything in moderation. Too much of one thing is a bad thing. So, moderating yourself is very, very important. I know that, my mom, or my family member, I should say, who has Virgo South Node, really talks to me a lot about moderation, because I apparently have struggles moderating myself. So, there you go. So, look to Virgo South Node, Pisces North Node to sort of help you along with, this process. So, moderation. Oh, this is big. This is big. Taking a leap of faith. What does it mean to take leaps of faith? It means taking a significant risk, or making a huge decision and being okay with not knowing what the outcome is going to be. Like you're afraid to take risks because you fear the outcome. You have a fear over the outcome. You have a fear that things are not going to go according to plan. You're uncertain about if things are going to happen in your idealistic world of how you want things to happen. And so then you fail to take risks. And part of it is taking risks, calculated risks, and being willing to take risks. Well, you never know until you try. I invite you to take the risk so that you can do that thing, so that you can potentially move on the path to achieving what your dreams are. So in order to do this, risk-taking is also very, very important. And it's feel like you're going to have fear. Okay? It's okay to have fear and doubts about the future and how uncertain it is. However, that doesn't mean you have to stay in the fear. That doesn't mean you have to just succumb to the fear. Just accept, I have this fear. Fear can hold you back from living a life of your dreams, from living your full potential, from living the life that your soul really, really wants to live. This can hold you back. And feel the fear, take the risk anyway. Because you never know. All those great people in history took risks, and look who they became. Great, very, very successful people. You can be one of those people as well, but you can't stay small. If you want to really achieve your dreams, you cannot stay small. It involves taking risks, involves taking action. So, and noticing the little details of your life. So, taking it, while you're on the path of achieving your dreams, then it's also important to pay attention to the little details of life that involve living the life that you want to live, as like folding the laundry or doing, all this stuff, and, valuing details. So details are very, very important. So that's what I want to start you with. That's just the beginning, okay? That is just the beginning. We're about to go much deeper with this. So we're just kind of getting started here, and we're already, well, what do you know about that? So hopefully I won't spend too long going through the rest of this information, and a lot of this I've covered before. So let's get into these nodes first of all. Basically the North Node and the South Node, both are opposite points, can be about life purpose. They can show you which direction your life purpose is in, which direction to go on that. I've already discussed order out of chaos. Because Virgo puts things to order, so I've already discussed that. Taking all the spiritual dreams and fantasies that you have, like I want to be a star on stage, or I want to be a guru or somebody, like the whole thing about being a monk this life. No. Because monks can actually, there's a lot of good qualities to being a monk, but you can actually separate yourself from this practical mundane reality when you're away from it all too much. Okay? Well, it's good to be away for a while, but not overdoing it, not escaping reality, withdrawing too much from the world. Goes back to moderation. So, so living in this, living in the and you do live in the real world. You do. But there is this fantasy type thing that you can get caught up into. So, now, planning to commit to your plans, failing to, so planning. Part of this requires commitment. Like when you see a plan through, you're gonna find that you're gonna find that it happens only when you can follow through. Like, do you make plans just to go off the plan? And the promises that you make to others and yourself are very, very important in this life. When you make a promise to yourself, you plan it out, and it's best to fulfill that plan fully. So it involves you being willing to commit to it. Ask yourself, do I really want this? Am I willing to commit to it? Is my soul really in this? So that's really, really the thing here. Being present instead of getting stuck in your head. I've already discussed that. Practical service. Well, okay. Practical service. What you're meant to do is you're meant to take your south nodes and talents and use them in a north node way. So take all that compassion and all that love for others, that you love for humanity and other people, and serve them in practical ways. Like I have like being a therapist to others. Like this person, I believe, who had a Pisces south node Virgo north node, was a therapist that I knew. Being a doctor or being a singer, like healing others through music. Like I think that Barbra Streisand did this through healing others through music. So, that is that with that. And then one of the big lessons of life is developing boundaries. Developing boundaries. Developing boundaries to over-escaping to the fantasy. Developing boundaries to getting caught in the emotions of others. Getting caught in others' emotional dramas, others' emotional problems, others' energy and vibration, where you were meant to sacrifice yourself and you were merged into this other person's emotions, and you felt ungrounded. You felt like you were being swept away by the tide, and it was overwhelming. And it's like, can you see how detrimental this can be? So now it's time to develop strong boundaries for yourself and think about yourself and prioritize your own well-being and your own peace of mind and take care of your own health, your own life. That's part of this. You're meant to structure your life. You're meant to create routines that work for you, instead of relying on others to create them for you. So you're meant to create your own routines in this life. Creating your own routines. And it's going to feel very, very, very empowering. Like creating routines that work for you. Creating routines that are true for you. Like I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to meditate, or I'm going to run, or I'm going to get on the treadmill. Like I have an exercise routine of getting on the treadmill in the mornings and the afternoons that I stick to for my health. I have a routine that I'm going to write in a horoscope column. I have a routine that I'm going to take care of the dogs in the morning, because this is part of it. Like, and if you have a house, maintaining that house, maintaining your pets, maintaining the garden. Like, you're meant to maintain the little details of your life in order to live a life in alignment with your dreams. It requires you to maintain this stuff. It requires you to actually get in there and be conscious and mindful and actively take care of what it is that you need to take care of. So, this is what you're learning. So, So the next thing is prioritizing your health and physical body, doing a exercise routine, taking care of your health, nutrition, eating right, taking care of your mental health and well-being is very, very important, like, meditation, finding your center, being more grounded, whatever your spiritual practice is. And the thing is, to not, to not let yourself go. To not let yourself just go. To not let you live an unclean and disorganized. This is so funny, letting yourself go, because you can live an unclean and unorganized life when you let yourself go. So this life is about not letting yourself go and living this kind of life in this kind of way. So taking care of your body in that way. And I am feeling hungry right now, so I'm going to take care of my physical body after this and have some lunch. So, another quality of this is improving skills that you're good at. What is a skill that you want to develop, that you want to get good at? Mastering a skill requires you to constantly improve and constantly perfect and constantly work on that skill. It isn't just going to come through you just sitting with it and hoping that you'll be good at the skill. It takes you consciously, working on the skill over time to where you get good at it. So, it's this very, very, these typical things like practice makes perfect. And wow, this person really is leaning into this Virgo North Node. Really is leaning into this, very, very strongly. Which is a good thing. He is supposed to be balancing this out. So, improving these skills that you're good at, improving the skills, having self-discipline. Discipline, like not allowing yourself to escape too much and get caught up in the, escaping into the scrolling, into the music or painting or something that's just where you're overdoing it, and not just lazing around and you're surrendering, but having self-discipline to stay the course and stay on plan, and commit to it. So being committed, even though you may lack the motivation to do so. Like you may lack the confidence and the drive and the motivation to actually go in this direction. But it's about you being empowered and willing to have discipline within yourself. And not getting caught up in your dreams also. Now, when you were younger, you may have a strong, in past lives, you may have a very, very strong connection to the divine, very, very strong connection to spirit. You were very connected with that, very tapped into the oneness of all that is, understanding that we are all one and nobody is separate. You were very, very spiritual in previous incarnations. You were emotionally tuned in and highly sensitive to other people in the whole world where, so in past lifetimes or in your early life, if you don't subscribe to the belief of past lives, think of the South Node as, another way of thinking about it is like your childhood life. So, in your younger years, you're probably very, very much tuned into other people's emotional stuff that was going on. That's what you were really tuned into, and then getting taken advantage of by others. You allowed others to take advantage, and I want to be certain about this. Yeah. So you were exploited to use someone or something unfairly for your personal advantage, and to just use the person for your own gain. It is basically, what it is about. And not getting taken advantage of by others. Having discernment. Wow, this is big. This is big. Having discernment. This is having discretion and discernment. Very, very important in this life. There was a Starman movie I was seeing where this it was illustrating a woman who was walking with her friend, and there was this mother who was in the streets who was pregnant and she was poor. And this lady was like, I want to give so badly. And so this friend was like, I don't know, maybe you should just avoid this person and just, let them be. But no, this person wanted to help, wanted to be a good Samaritan, quote unquote. So she gave money to this person, but then she was like, I really want to help this person so badly that I'm going to invite them into my home. And so this friend was like, no, you've already done enough. Don't invite them into your home. Don't invite her into your home. So sure enough, she invited her into her home. And this lady that was pregnant trashed the place. She was messy. She didn't clean up to herself. She ate this person's food. She laid around on the couch like it was her house. And she made herself so comfortable that she made it seem like her house instead of, well, this is somebody else's house. And this is somebody else's, wife, and this is not your house. And so this person let this person be, and then this person revealed who they were, and they weren't actually pregnant. And then they would refuse to leave. They refused to leave, and so then in court, this person, was found guilty, and then this taken away by the police. And so this could have easily been avoided had this person had discernment and had discrimination and healthy boundaries around not getting taken advantage of. So that's what I'm talking about here with that. So, yeah. So, in a rational way, like being rational about setting boundaries, like, this is not somebody that I should be associating with, or this is not somebody that I should be engaging with, like, I will engage with comments on my channel to a point, but if there's just those that are just like, oh, red flag, another red flag, then I'm going to be discerning. Like, I'm not going to get taken advantage of by people in my comments. So this is also something to go along with this. And I'm going to be rational about it, like being practical and pragmatic about self-compassion. Wow, am I getting hungry. Healing. Healing yourself. Not necessarily healing others, because you spent so much time healing others, but healing yourself. If you feel you're a victim, you're in need of healing, in need of help, in need of support, in need of taking care of yourself, this is a time to heal yourself, to go, take care of your own self instead of always sacrificing yourself for others. And again, you'll find that you'll feel really, really fulfilled by service, work that benefits others, work that helps others, because that's how you'll feel fulfilled, is by doing that, and by restoring peace and equilibrium and balance within yourself. So when you prioritize your own well-being, then you serve others. Like, put your oxygen mask on first. Like, you have to prioritize your own health and well-being, then go serve. There's the doorbell. There's some man coming here to to look at the window thing for a chemical that's getting. I don't know. But that is service. this person is serving, this house by doing something practical. So, there you go, and it requires you to be skilled and it requires you to pay attention to details. So just exactly what I'm talking about. So they're going to do their thing, and I'm going to do my thing, and they're going to mind their own business. I'm going to mind my business. So, okay. So, this, serving others. And after you have taken care of yourself, will give you equilibrium and balance. Being so caught in the mystical idea of oneness, where you're so connected with the oneness of all that you lose your identity. And a big thing with this placement is knowing where you end and the other begins. Having boundaries. Knowing where you stand in your life. Being connected with the all is a great thing, and we're all interconnected, but when it becomes where you're losing your own identity, that is where it can become unhealthy. Okay, so don't get, don't allow it to overtake you. Don't allow it to stop you from actually getting the things that you need to get done in your life. You may have spent too many lifetimes in contemplation, self-reflection, and quiet, meditation. You've done a lot of that. This life is about taking action. We reflect so that then we can take action. Pisces, Aries comes after Pisces. The spring comes after winter. You spend so many lifetimes in winter, in that feminine, quiet time of reflection of your dreams, but now the universe is saying to you, time to act. Time to take action. Time to pay attention to the details that require you to get to where you want to go. So that is this placement. Learning to say no, again, saying boundaries, can be so empowering to say no. Pisces North Node. So empowering to just say the word no. No is a full sentence. It's a full sentence. You made your point. You're setting your clear boundary with that. Another thing is, you may be so anxious and lost in your life. Just so anxious in your life with okay, this is going to be long. Feeling anxious and lost with your life, that you are not willing to ask for help and reach out for help. Okay? So, you're feeling... Okay, I'm going to slow everything down now. You're feeling this anxiety that, that you're unwilling to ask for help. But this life is about being willing to ask for help. And receive that help. Because you don't want to do it. You're uncomfortable with the practical world and actually doing the mundane details that require you to get to achieve your dreams. So it's about you being willing. Part of it is not giving up and not having a escapist, avoidance, mentality, but actually getting out of that habit pattern of wanting to escape and actually pushing yourself to say, I'm going to receive the help. And I'm going to be willing to ask for help. Because this is a step. You want to take active steps in the direction of achieving what you want to achieve. You had great visions in previous lifetimes. You have all these great visions, but you fail to turn them into reality. Now, paying attention to your habits, your eating habits, your spending habits, your, all the little habits of what you do in your day-to-day reality, which make up the little details of your life that ultimately, okay, so these habits, you make up these little details that make up these little details of your life that if you piece all these things together, it can in fact make you who you are as a person. That's what it can do. Is the little, like, it's found in the small things. Like, it's really about the small things of life. And also I've talked about time management. Managing your time, very, very important, because it's part of life. And not getting lost in another reality. Well, I'm going to amend this. So, not escaping your responsibilities and not falling into daydreams when the going gets tough, when things don't go according to plans, when there's a problem, you want to escape your responsibilities and you don't want to deal with it anymore. This life is about, yes, being willing to, again, as I've said before, put in the work to make this the way it is when there are issues. Okay? So, wanting to put details to what you envision. Now, another thing is that there's a savior mentality. And I'm going to look up what a savior mentality is, because I think that this applies to you. A savior complex, and I think that Teal Swan made a video about this. A state where an individual feels a compelling, often unconscious need. Okay. I'm glad that I looked this up because I was wrong about this. Maybe in a more compassionate way. Okay. I think that the word that I was looking for is God complex. Behavioral pattern that characterizes an unshakable. This is also not what I was referring to. Okay, you definitely don't resonate with that. So this is an imperfection here that I'm having in this video. It's a good thing I look these things up, because I don't want to give wrong, false information. So forget about that. Just to say that you may look up to someone to just save you, to just help you. Like, you may just expect the universe to just come in and save you and do it for you. Like, the universe is not going to do that. Okay? It's like your guides are not going to take over. Like, your guides may give suggestions and give insights and give signs and all those things, but you are the one to ultimately take action on these things, because this is an empowering way. Like, oracle cards is a spiritual practice. This may be very, very healthy for you to have oracle cards, working on your own self, spirituality. With this placement. And so you're not meant to just, the oracle cards are not going to take over and tell you this is what you must do. They're just suggestions. So, you may just be, like, under a bridge, like, oh my gosh, I literally see this placement as a poor person just, like, expecting others to help them and not having the empowerment to get up and do it for themselves. I mean, well, I do not want to become this way. No. I do not want myself to become so unattached or detached and avoidant to this material world that I am just living in a fantasy land of just not attending to the details that I need to take care of and expecting somebody else to do it for me, and they're not coming to me. Like, this life is not set up so that others will come to you and just fix your problems. You need to be the one to actively do this. So, especially when things go wrong. Like, it's about you, and I want to have compassion for you. Like, it is hard. I know it's hard because you feel unself-confident, but it requires you to take the risk. It requires you to have the courage to take the risk and do it anyway. And it may feel very, very uncomfortable, but at least you took the risk. And the more you do it, the more confident and easy and secure you'll feel about it within yourself. They also want your ideas to be your own, not afraid that others are going to ruin the perfect ideal for what those visions are going to be. That's why you want to keep it to yourself. You're very, very insecure and worried over uncertainty. You're very, very insecure and worried over, what's going to happen in the future. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if I don't have the job? What if I don't make enough money? What if I don't get everything organized and cleaned up over here? What if this garden isn't planted on time? Like all these worries and insecurities. Oh my gosh. With both Pisces South Node and Virgo South Node, do not judge either of these placements. Because either one of them will be so resistant to it, will have a thing about it. Like, do not be so judgmental. Like, don't be hard on these people, please. If you have Pisces, South Node, Virgo, North Node in your life, don't be hard on them. They're just trying to get by in the world with what they can do with themselves and their skills. Like, they feel overwhelmed. They feel like they're in a victim state. It's very, very hard for them to take action. Like, have compassion for them and help them along. So we have to do this. I'm not going to be blunt and just say you have to do this and do all. No. Like holding space for compassion is very, very important with this. So with all the nodal placements, really. But anyway. And so there can be okay. They believe in taking their concern and compassion for others and helping people, making a difference in others' lives, which is really, really high expression, in practical ways, like getting out there and taking action to serve the others in practical ways. Now, a very, very interesting thing about this placement, this is getting into, we're going very, very deep at this point in the video here. These individuals can actually overwork themselves when they try to do it. It's not like the laborious martyrdom thing with the South Node and Virgo. It is a frantic, disorganized, stressed, overwhelmed way of overworking yourself without a system or a structure. Like Virgo South Node does it with a system and structure. These people do not. So they do all these things without a structure. And there's an overwhelm here with this. They're like feeling overwhelmed that you're not knowing how to manage all these things. Like I think like multitasking, like doing one thing at a time, like cooking requires multitasking. Very, very difficult. Because then cooking can be overwhelming. Like kitchen work can be overwhelming. Like all these things can be very, very overwhelming for the Pisces South Node when you don't have a system and a structure. When you don't have a plan. It always goes back to that. There's difficulty finishing things. There's difficulty with committing to your task and seeing it through. Now, they, believe it or not, have perfectionism in their bones. Because, and here's the reason why, they have this perfect vision for what they want to be in their life. This utopian, idealistic idea of how things need to be done, of the life that they want to live. And they are so afraid of failure. They're so afraid that they take action and it doesn't go, that if they take action that they're going to mess up and it's not going to go according to plan and it's not going to be the perfect, idealized plan and vision that they have in their head that they want to create. So they're afraid to act, because, it won't meet up to their standards. And they're trying to have a system. They're trying so hard to have a system, and they may very well have a system. And they may well be perfectionistic, but it looks differently for them than the South Node and Virgo. So they live in this reality like all of us do. They are human just like all of us. They're not like from another realm or another world or whatever. They make mistakes. We all make mistakes. That we all get criticized. They get criticized like the rest of us. And going back to that comment that I was talking about before, it's not that they're not living in ground reality. This person was referring to it as saying that I don't live in ground reality. And I do live in ground reality because if you know your worth, then you live in ground reality. If you are Pisces South Node, and in the case where you're getting so swept away by the emotions and you're in a victimhood, then you're just so swept away with that you don't have a center, that you don't have a boundary. Like, I don't get swept up in that stuff, so I don't know what this person was talking about. They didn't know who I am. They made this false assumption, like, oh my gosh, well, this person, very, very, no. So, anyway, enough about that. Pisces South Nodes protect themselves from, like what they do is, they think that they're protecting themselves by staying caught in the victim, like staying caught in the comfort zone of being a victim, protecting themselves from making mistakes, protecting themselves from being criticized, being judged, doing all the work and then having it all be torn to shreds. To avoid disappointment, to avoid themselves getting disappointed, to avoid others getting disappointed. And they think, why go to all the trouble if it's not going to be perfect, if it's not going to work out just the perfect way that you envision it to work out? And if they can't do things perfectly the first time, why do them? Like, they're here to learn that they're probably going to not do it okay the first time. And it's okay to, not do it right. That they're learning that in order to achieve your dreams, to not give up when things don't go perfectly, and to just continue to keep just plowing through and powering through and just keep swimming and just keep, if something happens, fix it, deal with it, and then just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward till you achieve that goal. Like, that's what they're learning. Keep plodding along till you eventually get there. No relationship will ever be perfect. No project or task will ever be perfect or ideal. So just surrender that need for it to be perfect. They have high standards that maybe you don't know this about Pisces North Nodes, but they have very, very high standards for themselves. Very, expect themselves to be this perfect, idealized version of themselves. And they feel like if they would share it with others, then others would try to talk them out of it because it's too, like they feel like if I share these hopes and dreams with others, others are going to try to defeat this and try to disempower me by talking me out of it and saying, oh, you're not, worthy enough to do this. You can't do this. It's impossible. You can't achieve this dream. You can't go out and do this. You're not adequate enough. You're not skilled enough. You're not smart enough. You're not wise enough. And then that destroys the Pisces South Node hope that they built up. Well, like, that's what they feel. Like if they do that, then just what's the point? Like, it's a very, very strong thing within them. They have an easier time dealing with others making mistakes than themselves making mistakes. It's easier for them to deal with, because they can help others. Like, they're so forgiving of others when they make mistakes and mess up, because they're so compassionate. They're selfless people. They're very, very kind, compassionate people. But with themselves, they feel like they are unworthy of being forgiven. And so they refuse to forgive themselves. They're here to serve others and help them succeed. Not let them fail. They're here to serve others. They're here to help others along as they are moving along through life. Letting them fail is so disempowering. They're not meant to let people fail. They're meant to work with them as they go through life, and they're meant to serve others. If you're serving others and making a difference, then that's quite the opposite of letting the person fail, letting the person fall on their face and mess up. So the whole let them theory is just out the window with this placement, very, very much when it comes to that. Like, the let them theory is true, but I have to say this about the let them theory. Mel Robbins has a book about this. Where it can get very negative is when it can become disempowering, that you're letting people walk all over you and you're not standing up for yourself and dealing with it and being in your own worth and value and being your own sovereignty and your own integrity and being true to yourself. Like, that's where let them cannot serve you. Like, it's not just extreme, let them, all the way. So that's the point I want to make about that. So, they're afraid of disappointment. They're afraid of not fulfilling the expectations that they set for themselves. And of making mistakes in the process. They're afraid of making mistakes in the real process of life. Yeah, they're afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid of getting it wrong. They need to get their hands dirty. They need to get their hands dirty. They need to take a leap of faith and take risks and actually get in there and act. It's okay for them to make mistakes. There's this deep fear that they have that if they make mistakes, others will punish. This is what I read. Others will punish them. Others will hurt them. Others will threaten them. For getting something wrong. And so they don't feel worthy. Like you are worthy of being a perfectly imperfect human. You are worthy of making mistakes also. It's not just you're worthy for just being who you are. Part of it is making mistakes. Like, you're also worthy over that. So, knowing that no one is here to threaten. No one's going to threaten or hurt Virgo North Node for making mistakes. No one's out to get you. Like, they feel like the whole world is out to get them. Like, it's me against the world. Like, they just want the whole world to just love them. Like that's what they feel. Very, very strongly. But we are all human. And the thing with others forgiving them, they're just so resistant to it because, and I'm going to look up something else here. Okay. I'm not going to worry about it. And the reason why they're afraid of forgiveness is they suffer from this unworthiness issue. The self-worth issue that they are not worthy of being saved. Like they feel like they're unworthy of being helped or saved, or that they're hopeless, or that they're a ship that's lost at sea that can't be put to shore, and that there's no lighthouse to carry it home, So, they can feel that what downside of this placement, downside of Saturn in Pisces actually can be hopelessness. Like I can't be saved. I'm a victim. And this is how I was feeling in 2024 with all those regrets. I was feeling very much like what's the point of living? What's the point of doing all this? Very, very much in the victim mentality, very hopeless, very down about myself. Saturn in Pisces, most of it was rough for me. That whole transit from March 2023 to February of, I'd say to January of 2026, that was a rough. There were a lot of good things that happened within that, but that was rough. So anyway, they're not worthy of being forgiven. I feel like they're not worthy of being forgiven. But they're always willing to forgive others because of that selfless compassion for others. Like it's easier for them to forgive others because because it's not them that has to be perfect. And so forgiveness, like they feel like they are just a flawed, wrong person. They feel like they are not perfect. They feel like they are imperfect. And so when others forgive them, it's like, now I expect you to be perfect. I expect you to fulfill these expectations. I expect you to do this and do that. And then now Pisces South Node feels like it has to live up to all these expectations, that it cannot fulfill. So that's kind of the mindset that it has about forgiveness and the whole resistance to the forgiveness. But really, forgiveness is about release. It's about, really, like I talked about this with Pisces North Node. Like Pisces North Node's a learning. The forgiveness is just letting go of the resentment, and forgiving yourself is, just all it takes worthiness to forgive yourself. It is about having the worthiness and self-acceptance to forgive yourself. And you feel like others are going to reject you if you don't live up to those expectations when they forgive you. And that if you're not perfect, then it'll hold you back from your survival in this life. I mean, it even goes as far as that. Like if you're not perfect, and if you're not this perfect ideal that you have in your head that you think others expect you to be, which they don't, that's just the mindset that you have, that you're not going to get through it. You're just not going to get through it. And that is so not true. So not true. So forgiving themselves for not living up to the perfect fantasy in your head. And so this is also about one of the last points I want to make here before this very long live stream or very long video is done. This has been very incredibly long. I'm aware of that. I didn't expect it to be this long, but anyway, just the other ones happen to be shorter. I don't know why this one's longer. Caring for others and not allowing the criticism of others pull them back into that weak position of not being able to do it. Like caring for others, when not taking criticism personally, allowing the criticism of others to pull you back into a weak position, then that criticism holds you back from not being able to do it, and then you feel weak, like you can't do it. Like this criticism makes you then feel weak. That's what it really comes down to. And so you never know what you can do when you make mistakes. Like, you only learn through mistakes. You don't know until you try something, and if you make a mistake, then, well, that's a mistake that you made. And you've learned through that mistake. And you become better because of that mistake, and you opened up, new gateways because of that one mistake that you didn't know were there before. So life is going to happen. Stuff is going to hit the fan. It's just a part of life. Like, it's not going to be this perfect, idealized thing where it's going to be perfectly streamlined and flowing in a perfect way, and no problems and no, mess ups and screw ups and issues. Like, there's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be choice points. There's going to be obstacles that you're going to come across. It's about you being willing to face those obstacles. And there's this feeling like, oh, if things just didn't happen this way in my life, then my life would be just so perfect and so ideal. Well, no. Things are meant to happen the way that they're meant to happen, and you, with the Pisces South Node, are surrendering to the universe, and the universe, God works in mysterious ways. The universe is so wise and loving, and when something goes wrong, it's not a bad thing. It's just a readjustment. It's like the universe having a lot of wisdom, and this was meant for you to happen. You were meant to experience this roadblock or this challenge or this difficult time in your life. You were meant to experience this. This is divinely orchestrated in perfect divine timing, in divine ways. So that's what I want to say to that. And then you're not meant to just keep sacrificing yourself, giving to others, endless, selfless service that is emotionally handing over your power for all of eternity. Well, this is what I was reading, for all of, lifetime upon lifetime. Like, you have to break the cycle and move into having a breath of fresh air to get your life back together again. Okay, so what I mean by this is it can be a breath of fresh air to just get out of this mindset of just being of endless service to others. Being of selfless service to the whole world. Being drained by that. Like, it can be so refreshing to say, now I'm centered, now I'm grounded, now I'm taking care of my own life and my own routines, and not getting, not just getting drowned in the emotional issues of others. So yeah. So you'll find like your life is in a better place if you focus on the details of your own life as opposed to trying to just cater to everybody else's emotions and vibrations. So, wow, this has been long. Probably nobody's watching this. If you do, then you're very, very willing. Okay, this is they're usually an hour or a little bit over an hour, but this has been a long episode of the Thousands of Google podcast. I am not going to waste any more time with this. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it deeply meaningful. And I'm going to see you in the next video. maybe tomorrow or the next day. I think probably Wednesday is the next podcast episode. I've decided to change how I do these things, or I do it on a daily basis, because I have just so many ideas, and it helps me to ground, like, this day when I do this day when I do that. So that's kind of what I came up with for myself. So I think on Wednesday I want to talk about the sun in the 4th house, which I have in my natal chart. I have the sun in the 4th house in my natal chart, so I'll talk about that. Thank you for watching this video on the North Node of Virgo. I will see you in the next episode. Bye for